Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. My name is World Undone. Thanks so much for joining me this episode. I have given my voice a long rest, and I hope that I would be able to, at the very least, finish the first trial. But many things can happen during an Ace Attorney trial, I know that. Either way, I accidentally skipped ahead to the next line, so I'll go ahead and read it. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady, we are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. Feeling rough. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water, it contains no poison. I think it's got to be the glass. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good staining, until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent? What does that even mean? That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, Counsel, for which you will be penalized. That was the wrong answer. What is this, a Princess Bride kind of thing? Where she's built an immunity to the toxin just from her years of research? Ugh, this whole trial is poisoned. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Alright, let's get the correct option this time. Contains poison. The culprit did put Curair poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious? I'm sorry, you just insulted me for picking the other option. Fool! Are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it? That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed? Right. So there's a few things here. One thing I wanted to check earlier was this glass in the purse. I was hoping that would give me a few answers, but it doesn't appear to, because I thought that was the wine glass that was poisoned. Alright, well, if it wasn't that, then maybe it was the research? Yeah, even in minute doses. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound. I think I figured it out. Okay, I think I figured it out. He just had dental surgery, which means there was a wound in his mouth. Okay, this has gotta be it. Let's present it. The answer to this riddle is right here in Mrs. Brett's own research project. That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone. Honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? Oh, shoot. Well, I guess I gotta check the record. It's, synopsis, special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this Curare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters may have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters are going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. Yes. The mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... Rapscallion. Is that... Swan alive? Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer? All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts you read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Oh, God. Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curair is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. I've got a gastric suck. Let's just move on. Oh, I remember this pose too. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Well, no, he just had dental surgery. That's right. Good gracious. Come on, we know this. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand. No? Order in the court, order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest... Yes, this Curair poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. No, man. Like, we know the answer. Everyone knows the answer. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Okay, this got way too horny way too fast. Yes! Yes! Look at that Chad point. I don't think so, Mrs. Jezebel Brett. I accidentally called her Jezebel, but my point stands. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, you must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested, why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Curair? Because he had undergone a dental treatment. That's gotta be... yeah, this has to be it. Ooh, that's new. As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of Curair are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water, as we all know there was? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. God, this is starting to feel like a little fetish. Oh, what is happening? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not. You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy. No, you killed the victim that day, using Curer. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. So what's the point of poisoning him if you're just gonna shoot him in the chest anyways? This is all I'm wondering. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? What? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. I saw, what I felt, every color. A bloodstain? Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Yes, there's a clue. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Haha, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been... don't use that word. For a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... it's the bloodstain. I mean, right? Looks like it. Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? Ugh, he's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day? Wait a minute, where are you going with this? You've got to say it, but in a weird way. Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scenes shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw on that wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett? I beg your pardon? This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? Who's that? This could be the moment my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plates, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all, in the name of justice. I love this guy. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Inspector. The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man! Show the court! Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. I don't see any blood. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. Is it on the other side? It was on the handle. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see? This is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Isn't that a line from JoJo? Ah, that's racist. I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Things are looking pretty grim for our hero. Ha! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. I will absolutely examine it. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Okay, court record. Obviously, we need to examine it. Okay, so we've got this. No, nothing on the back side. Nothing I can see, at least. Nope. So we go around to the front side. So there's this... the juices. There's the bowl. And this is the handle. This is where the blood stain was. Well, let's examine the bowl first. This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow. Oh, a cow. It's a bull, man. It's got horns. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beef steak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is a symbol of La Carnival, is it? This is a very casual conversation considering your life is hanging in the balance. Alright, well that was cute. But now, it's gotta be this. What? That's a coin that the old man was looking for. What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. And the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was Hoei Koban? Yes, obviously. Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bouillon in bouillon. Bouillon in bouillon? How do you pronounce that? That's a very good pun, though, considering this was originally Japanese. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... okay, so we've got something here. There's another clue. Your Excellency, please, wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must endure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found? It's right here. Oh shoot. Okay, I'll cut this. I'll cut this out. Oh, wait a second. Huh, so I lifted it up with the space key, and now I can present the coin. And so I shall. Got it. Good gracious, that's... Koban? What on earth? A Hoei-era one, at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? Oh my god, the swan. What a ridiculous question! How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beef steak is... can I use the directional keys? Yeah. So it's this guy. Kyuryo Korekuta. Yes. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Kyuryo Korekuta-san. Curie? As in Mr. Cucumber something? I think that joke got lost in translation, but they made up for it with the amazing beef pun earlier. Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Oh, just wait until you see the most ridiculous British name. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. I've already read this. Yeah, you're Yoda, I understand. Yeah, and you're an angry drunk. Then this Hoei Ero Koban, do you mean to tell me? So I just want to interject here and say, I have no idea what it's doing under the stake. I'm totally lost here. I have no idea how this relates to the case. No. Please, why would Korekuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense. Yeah, it makes no sense. That's the point, which is why I'm asking to bring Korekuta-san back to the witness stand, so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. Me neither. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in this case. I sure hope I'm pronouncing Koban correctly. Oh no. We've got 4 people on the witness stand. What's all this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for my little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. Amakatya. When cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korekuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves.
Whoa! Yes, that's it! The one! The very exact one that it is! The resplendent, splendiferous, holy treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day.
It can't be. As I thought.
Young man! Enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Alliteration.
Clearly it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing?
That's what we're here to find out. Excuse me? Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Oh, you did mention that. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts, targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of the several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korokuta-san's Koban is all too clear. What?
What? I can't hear you, I'm old.
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korikuta-san's Koban and hid it under the stake? I think it's about time to save here, because I am really not sure. Okay. So, there's a few options here. And it could really be any one of these people. But seeing as it was her stake, makes it all the more likely that it was her doing. On the other hand, she seemed to very believably not understand what it was doing underneath her stake. More believably than usual. It's not Susato. That's the only person I'm positive it's not. And it wasn't Kyu-ryo. It wasn't even John Wilson's stake. It wasn't Takatsushi. It wasn't Yuijin. It wasn't Kazuma. So, there's Satoru. And it wasn't him. So it's either Iesa Nosa or Josiel Brett. I'm gonna guess it's Mr. Nosa. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Iesa Nosa. I think that was right. What? How? How dare you, you monster? Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Idaho! Okay. You know, I gotta say, somehow I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was just like poor, and so because he's raising a kid on his own, and so he needed the steel to support his child. But nope, Ido shot Mr. Burns. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. What do you got to say for yourself? Oop. Oh, God. That was one hell of a sequence of events. Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Iesa Nosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. What? Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living. Yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go in there and do reconnaissance for a target. So, okay, my thought was correct. And I enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban? Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
A phantom thief, where have I heard that before? I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Wait. Yes, when the professor was shot. Were the stakes switched? I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido, too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double. I slipped it under the stake, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. Makes sense to me. Everyone seems very quiet about this. Like, things make way more sense now than they ever have before. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled Sargent. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. No, we've got to figure out why the plates were switched. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. Eating the steak without a knife and fork? Did she not have a knife and fork? If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. He's still in groveling mode. Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hold on. Let me just... I gotta check the record now. It's here. No. Is it here? There's a fork there. No knife, though. What about here? Yeah, here's a knife and fork. So there's nothing strange there. Not as far as I can see. Because, I mean, I can take the magnifying glass, but it was used. Look at it. It's got stains on it. Without using a knife and fork. It's madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. It did? I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? Fantastic question, Mr. Judge, man. Fantastic question. I don't get what they're getting at here. Boy, I was just making fun. It's like, oh, everyone already knows it. The game's just making us go through hoops, and now I'm at a loss for words. So, here's... yeah, the... Steak is there. And there's the knife and fork. So, what the heck? Examine this. That looks fine. Alright, I'll present this. I have no other options. I have no idea what it is. The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred? What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table. The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes. Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. No, you're just splitting hairs. Or am I? Am I? Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. Oh, I see it now. As you can see, there are clearly defined quote-unquote barbaric teeth marks there. Ah, oh. Ah. That was a fun one. It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in this steak at all. But, what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and... Ooh, starting to get a little discoloration there, Miss Brett? Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. I really do shut up when she says shut up. It's very effective. I've heard enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course, dear lady. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth mark in the stake have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? I do know. Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with a cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somewhere seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in a steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Boy, he's getting good at this. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Mr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson, pardon me. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been... what? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? Now, I think it's the detective, right? The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. Is it so ridiculous, Hosonaga? No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korikuta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, Cadet. I'm a superior officer, are you? Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Tension. Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched to 2 steaks over? I think that's exactly what I'm suggesting. You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then, when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. Oh man, this guy saved the case. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Oh, it's so cute. Unbelievable! However, fear not, Prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak, and the plate it was on, back to his own table. And since the music is cut out at this point in time, it means it's time to save and end the episode. Because I thought, yeah, okay, if it's clear that the trial is like just wrapping up around the time I would normally end the episode, then sure, I'll just have a bit of a longer episode than usual. But for all I know, the trial could go on for, heck, like 10 more minutes, and there'd still be like 50 minutes of epilogue in the first chapter. So I think this is as good a place as any to stop the episode. And I suppose we'll find out in the next one what the Englishwoman's eyes actually look like, and start reaping the sweet rewards of being an ace attorney. So I'm World Undone, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.